Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Being yourself sets you apart from the competition. And I'm going to say this with utmost love and respect. Don't be afraid to embrace your quirky, wonderful personality and incorporate it into your business content, podcasts, or even on your website, because that then becomes your unique value proposition and you literally can use it to market yourself. Now, I can viscerally understand as a coach, consultant, or as a small to medium business, you literally want to present yourself in the best light. And I know in like the whole coaching industry or in the speaker circle, I see a lot of professionals who are happy to distance themselves from their professional brand or their own personality just so that they appear a certain person. And I can understand if you're going to be consulting or training or putting out information out there or expertise, you wouldn't want to be seen, maybe in your cycling clothing or in your running attire just because you're afraid you might bump into a client at a coffee shop and you wouldn't appear, professional enough, or people wouldn't take you seriously. But I'm here to tell you that if you actually learn to love your own personality, you will find things in there to create content, to create marketing, and actually connect with other human beings, because it's not necessarily about our work that actually makes it easy for people to connect with us. People want to connect with health, with wealth, with relationships, with our physical well-being, maybe intellectual well-being, the environment that we're working in. So much is happening that we can actually tap into and, bring out our personality, which makes us connect with other human beings instead of just talking about our consulting or our training out there. And in some ways, I totally get that, you might want to, just present the professional side of you because that's easy to manage. You would not be out there to protect what other people might, get from seeing you in Lycra or maybe in a compromising position, which you might think it's compromising. I'm here to just tell you that maybe it's just your ego and a very small self of yours that is not allowing you to be seen in your actual, being and in your fullness, which you're actually limiting, the connection that you might actually have with, other human beings. And like I said, I totally get this. For example, when you maybe name your practice or your business after yourself, this isn't necessarily a winning idea because, it won't always resonate with your potential clients. And in the whole business sector, we've learned to have that whole work-life balance. But guess what happened in 2020? That line got blurred. You know what I mean? A lot of us were told to work from home or work at all. You know what I mean? Just in case your work was deemed non-essential. So they no longer ease that work-life balance. We are now accustomed to hearing kids in the background, dogs barking in the background, or kids playing while we are on a serious Zoom call. So why are you still holding yourself, why are you still taking yourself seriously when everybody else is out there to play and actually connecting with who they are? The kind of work that we do, like I keep repeating, maybe it's consulting or training, sometimes it's very difficult for people to be confronted with, the work that we do. But if you connect with people, maybe, through their health, maybe through their wealth or through some relationship, or maybe just through the environment or whatever vocations that you might be doing, or maybe you're involved socially, you will notice that a lot of people will actually connect with you, just because maybe your kids or their kids go to the same school or they go to the same skate park, and you would end up talking to them and actually striking business deals from then on. Like, for instance, this weekend I went out, swimming at a public swimming pool with the kids, because obviously it's winter time right now as I'm doing this podcast, and they have warmer pools at the public places there. And I was just sitting in the waiting area waiting for my kids, and I just struck a conversation with a guy who later on turned out to be an accountant. And we've set a time to speak on Friday, and today is Monday when I'm doing this podcast. So you never know where your customers are going to be, because each and every person that's out there might know somebody who might be your target audience. So you should literally start learning to love your personality. That way, you are actually saving yourself from having to think or having to become yet another person. When you are confronted with having to prove yourself, in a professional sort of sense setup. And I get this. Like I'm saying, we are so much invested in what we show up as in our professional brand, and we actually neglect who we are personally. Okay, so like I keep saying, it's understandable that the pressure of always being associated with your professional brand can actually get to some people. We have been taught to be always on, and we have a very difficult time trying to switch from the personal brand or capacity to the business side, especially when it's a Monday like this and people start having a case of the Mondays. Okay, and it's also understandable that it's a constant pressure for us to always be on, like I said, and for us to constantly show up as professional people. However, when you get past maybe your company name, your logo, or whatever niche-based tactics or whatever positioning you're giving yourself these days, everything else circles back to you. You, the person that's listening to this podcast right now. You, the person that speaks to your clients. You, the person that cold calls potential clients and is hung up on your face. You, the person that's sending out hundreds of emails without getting as much as, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. You, the person that's wasting thousands of dollars on ad spend without generating any qualified leads. You, my friend. You, the Internet Explorer. You that's listening to me right now. Because as a business owner, or as a coach, consultant, or small to medium business owner, you are your brand, okay? And the sooner you embrace that your personality is one, of your brand's key defining factors, the sooner you actually start to work it into your advantage. I go for cycling normally every Sunday if I'm not walking around with my kids. And I also have started taking my kids, to modeling gigs and things of that nature. You know why? Because that's who I am and who I've always been. And I'm just incorporating that aspect into my business, every single day, that I'm out there. So the lines have blurred between your personal brand and your professional brand. And if you catch me in Lycra, in one of the back pockets, you know how we've got those little back pockets on your cycling shirt. There's always my business cards in there, just in case I strike a conversation in a coffee shop with somebody who might actually be my target audience. So I'm not necessarily out there, spraying and praying with my marketing or anything else, but I'm actually, connecting with people in all walks of life and actually finding common ground and creating rapport with people who I meet in the road, because you never know who your audience is, and you never know who might actually, be interested in what you're providing. Whatever it is that they do might actually help position you, to your clients or the people that you know. Imagine, you're at a networking event and somebody desperately needs a lawyer, and you just so happen to have met a lawyer at a tennis match over the weekend. Now, doesn't that put you in a good light? So I can imagine in the coaching and service-based industry, there's a temptation for you to maybe let me use a word that I've never probably used, professionalize yourself in business. Overly putting a case or overly putting a wall between your personal Netflix and chilling side to the person that's wearing a suit and tie today. Oh my God, that actually rhymed. Netflix and chilling side to the person who's wearing a tie today. But you know what? Yeah, and exactly, if you notice, I actually inject my personality into this professional podcast. You know what? At the end of the day, you're probably going to be listening to this while you're walking your dog. You don't necessarily have to be sitting in front of your desk to be learning how to actually use your own personal brands to enhance yourself. So why shouldn't I show you exactly what I mean by actually injecting it into maybe this podcast for you to have an understanding of what I'm talking about? Okay, some people wouldn't dare be caught smiling just because it might make them look unprofessional. And can you imagine how human beings communicate? By looking at facial expressions. And so can you imagine how much you are actually missing out on really connecting with the people that you seek to connect with? But that isn't really what people are looking for, maybe in a digital marketer anymore. Or they're not seeking out people that are too rigid. You know why? Because the world has actually become too liberal, and certain things are no longer seen as okay. You're actually intimidating your audience or your clients if you're very strict and if everything is too formal or professionalized. Okay, that's not what people are seeking for. People are seeking to connect. People are seeking to belong. People are seeking peace of mind. People are seeking status, and people are seeking to be valued. How can you then value people if you haven't got the emotional intelligence to value yourself first? All right. I mean, of course, when you've got professionalism and everything else, it's always important. It makes people know that their work is going to be well looked after. I mean, nobody's going to want to pay somebody to help them steer, maybe if you're a financial planner, their financial decisions or manage their investments. If that somebody shows up to an initial meeting, maybe in basketball shorts and a baseball cap. I mean, I'm not saying to be overly lax in the way you present yourself, but I'm not saying you should all be overly rigid. You should show up in your, self, in something that you're comfortable with and something that your, audience is going to approve of in a way that actually respects the thing that is happening at that particular moment. I mean, however, with so many maybe tech-centric options, for the DIY, we were talking about a financial planner there in the market today, people will actually turn to you because of who you are. You know what I mean? Because yes, there's apps and everything else that people can use to direct their finances, but people still want to speak to a person. So they're actively seeking to, personally connect with their advisor. And if they weren't, they would hunt down maybe an app or a robo advisor just to sign up, with and call it a day. But people literally want somebody to walk through, all the options that are available to them. So what are the benefits of actually embracing your personality, as a professional, and how can you let it shine through your work and actually attract clients? I told you over the weekend, I met up with an accountant who we are now going to meet up and maybe, transact some business, or I might just interview them just so that they can, be exposed to my audience. So in life, there's 7 aspects, that actually connects human beings. They're called the 7 dimensions of well-being. All right. There's research that has been put into all of this, and, there's 7 things that actually lead to a fuller and more satisfying life. So these 7 dimensions include your physical, intellectual, environmental, vocational, social, emotional, spiritual health. Okay. So, and if you're not, showing up in any of these 7 fields, then you're actually missing out on communicating and connecting with other human beings. Right. So I want you to repeat after me. I am my own brand. Say that again. Listen, I did not hear that. Can you repeat that? Fantastic. I am my own brand. And that should be etched, like a brain tattoo wherever you're going, there you are. Okay, let me tell you why. Because this is so true in the most basic sense. All right, you are the founder of your company. You're the founder of your coaching business. You're the founder of your financial planning practice. You're the founder of your mortgage business. You know what I mean? Your values, your strategies, and your preferred methods of working with your clients are at the heart and soul of your business. You wouldn't work with people you don't want to work with. You wouldn't allow people to just walk in with their dirty feet in the white carpet of the brand that you've created. So you want to own everything that you've put up until today, what's and all, you know what I mean? Because that's who you are, and that's what people are seeking out. If people are just looking for any coaching out there, let me tell you what, if you look at my library, I've got about 6 books regarding NLP. So if people just want NLP, what do? They just go to the library and buy and borrow NLP books. But if they want somebody to handhold them, to actually justify their failures, to encourage their dreams, to confirm their suspicions and help them throw rocks at their enemies, they're going to seek somebody who they're compatible with. Now, if you're not showing up with your own compatibility, especially in the 7 dimensions of well-being, it's going to be very difficult for you to actually make sense, help people make sense of the world around them. So any of your values, any of the things that have brought you to who you are right now, own them. Own them, all right? Because you're the only one who does the things, in the way that you do it. Okay, and I guarantee you that your clients are interested in hearing what sets you apart from any other coach or consultant out there, that they could talk to. I mean, seriously, check your business branding. All right, if you look at our branding, it's the purples and the golds, and you can see it everywhere where we go. How about your own branding? And I want you to check specifically on the message that you're putting out there, maybe on your website, on your blog, on your podcast, in the social media channels. Is any of that representing who you are? If I see any of the stuff that you're putting out there, can I pick you out in a sea of Me Too people, in a crowded room? Are you making it even more personal that it actually makes you stand apart? Does it honestly reflect who you are, your beliefs, your story, and everything else that comes along with it? You always have to constantly be elevating your message. You know why? Because if you're not connecting to the people that you want to seek, to connect with, then you're just spraying and praying with your marketing. Your message should always be consistent with who you are, and it should evolve as your business evolves. If you're not growing, then you're dying. And people can sense that from a mile away, because you know what? Things that are dying stink. Now, over time, you're going to grow, and, as you change as a person and as a business owner, your values should actually reflect the position and the station where you are in life right now. Embrace the evolution of you. Show people where you've been and show people where you're going to be taking them. That's what they're after. They don't like stagnant, professionals out there, because stagnant waters usually don't run deep, or stagnant waters usually stink. Embrace that evolution and just make sure that your message actually reflects who you are over the course of your journey. And don't even worry about alienating people, in the process. Oh, I know. What did I say? That's like blasphemy, isn't it? I find that a lot of coaches and consultants who get on the super professional route they purposefully shoot their bland messages and whatever content that they just regurgitating out there, hoping that somebody would triple, stumble, and fall and start working with them. Their thought process is that, they don't want to alienate everybody. They want to be the financial planner for everyone. They want to be the coach for everyone. Their message is disseminated to just about everybody in the marketplace. They want to work with anyone and everyone who reaches out to them, because, they believe that all people ultimately have problems that they can solve. Now, there's nothing wrong with you having this sort of nature, because you know what? You can literally go out and be, open to the whole marketplace. But, with the desire to maybe help other people with your services and reach a much more wider market, right? But let me tell you something. If you're not showcasing your personality or who you are as a business owner, you're more likely to draw in clients who just don't mesh with you, who just don't mesh with who you are. I'll tell you something right now. In the last couple of years, we actually noticed how distinctly different and how, there's so much polarity between people, even our family members. I know of a lot of people that are not talking to their family just predicated on their mindset or who they were during the pandemic. That exactly can be translated to your clients. And if you show up in a pretend personality, you will notice that you attract people that you don't even like to hang out with. Now, why put yourself through that? Because we're working maybe 90 hours a week or whatever, ridiculous amounts. You want to be doing work that matters for people who care and for people you absolutely love working with. I mean, when you get all these misfits or maybe these bad fits, there might be perfect fit for somebody else out there, but not for you. And if your content and your overall branding strategy has accurately maybe reflected your values or who you are or the methods that you are going to be used and your personality, this so-called client will actually self-select or self-direct somewhere else, and then you don't have to worry about them. And ultimately, you know what that does? It would actually leave you with more time and energy to pour into the relationships that actually matter, the relationships that are an actual perfect fit. Now, you see why you need to show up in your own personality so that you can actually connect with those that you want to, mesh with. Don't we all want more of that in our professional lives? To do work that matters, with people who care. So let me tell you something. Being your absolute self, being your own brand, showing up as who you authentically are actually makes an impression. Because there's a lot of blunt businesses out there. Me too, financial planners. Me too, accountants. Me too, mortgage brokers out there. Me too, coaches. Me too, consultants that are just putting out their consulting, their training. They might just change a word or two from the next financial planner. Nothing is different. By being unabashedly yourself, by being your own self. Like right now, I show up. I don't even care what my accent sounds like. I don't even care if I'm yelling in your ears right now. You're listening. It's 21 minutes. That must mean something. That must mean we are connected at some core level that maybe you might not understand, but one day you will, my Internet Explorer. And let me tell you something. When you show up in your own authentic self, you do make an impression. And people will remember you. You know what? People will remember your face. They'll remember your value proposition. They'll remember your fees. They'll remember your options. They'll remember your method. They'll remember that your bio, you talk more about, the actual process that you take instead of just, whatever financial services that you're offering today. So let me tell you something, the whole entire point of putting content out there, your blogging, your podcast, is actually to provide yet another touch point for your prospects to keep, abreast with what's actually happening, and for you to have yet another excuse to show up, in your client's newsfeed or in their email, and to have yet another notch in your sales funnel so you can convince people to work with you in so many different ways. So if people are not consuming you, maybe by hearing you, by watching you, by reading you, or by laughing with you, then there's no way they're connecting with you. And for you to cut through the noise, you have to make a positive first impression. Simply by embracing who you are, it will definitely help you on your path to, prospect, to connect with your prospects, and actually convert those prospects into your clients. I mean, I can understand as an entrepreneur, marketing is just one aspect of running a successful business, especially if you actually have to bring in your whole self in. There's a kid's song, you put your whole self in, you put your whole self back, put your whole self in. Yeah, and do the hokey pokey, and that's you can hear that I'm bashing it, but you know what? I've heard my little girl singing it. Put your whole self in. Because when you're hiring and managing new staff, they don't want to, show up or connect with a representative of you. They want to show up and connect with you. When you're balancing your books and driving growth, you are dealing and talking with people that you're going to be spending hours and hours and hours of your day with. You might as well make it good. So like I said, if you want to make a positive first impression, simply embrace who you are, and it will definitely help you connect with a lot more people. And guess what? You can literally use all of this in your marketing. This now makes you different. All right? Because seriously, you're more than your job. You're more than being an accountant. You're more than being a coach. You're more than being a financial planner. Even though you're a workaholic, you still have hobbies. You still have a life. You still have, your vacation and things that you do outside of your work environment. We all have family. We all have friends. You probably play football on Thursday, or you probably go cycling on Sunday. Oh, is it just me? Okay, cool. But dig deep. Find out what you love. Write about it. And then decide how you show up to events using your shining personality to knock people's socks off. Because you can actually connect with other people and say, hey, guys, instead of us just networking, why don't we go riding on Sunday and have a coffee or something like that, and maybe we can talk business that way. Because if you're in a different environment, it gives you different ideas, different perspectives, and you see people in a different light. Because there's a few examples here. Every morning I go running. If you love running, or maybe you don't love running, but you love a particular organization that's throwing maybe a fundraising 5-kilometer run, show up. You never know who you're going to meet there. Buy maybe the branded water bottles and pass them around and at the finish line. Because let me tell you something. Once you're showing up, you never know who's coming to connect there. Put your brand out there to people that are passionate about something. Because if people are passionate enough to show up on a hot day or on a cold day, those people have values that they want to protect. And you never know if those values align with you. How are you going to know if you don't show up? And sometimes maybe you can volunteer in your local, environment. What is it that you love? Do you love reading, or do you love, helping other people? Offer to sponsor one of the events, or maybe just buy supplies and put together thank you bags where you can put, your branding materials in there. It's an easy Trojan horse. Yes, of course, you've paid to be, at the volunteer place, or you've paid to be, sponsoring that event. But guess what? People will actually accept your credit, your, marketing collateral, not your credit card. They'll accept your marketing collateral and everything else that comes along with it, because they want to reciprocate all the good that you've done. Or maybe you find yourself being a soccer mom or a soccer dad, and you're at your kids' soccer games every weekend. Bring your business cards. Chat to people and find out what they're doing. You will be surprised. Or maybe you go for a coffee every morning. Ask the coffee shop that you frequent the most to stack your marketing materials there. These are just a few ideas. There's so much that you can do instead of just wanting to be part of the noise online. You don't have to always maybe network in a professional setting, because each and every one of us out there represents someone or knows a few people that might be in our niche. So just narrow down the things that you love to do and the places that you love to be, and figure out how you can market yourself there, because you're always there anyway. You might as well. It will come more naturally to you, and the people will be actually drawn more to you if you're sharing an interest than if you just show up and impose yourself to people that don't care anything about what it is that you're doing. Listen, man, you're awesome. Listen, woman, you're awesome. Listen, you're awesome. Don't you ever forget that, because being yourself sets you apart from the competition. And that's the name of this podcast today. Being yourself sets you apart from the competition. There's a lot of Me Too people out there that are just spraying and praying and boldly going nowhere. Don't be afraid to embrace your quirky, wonderful personality and incorporate it in your business content, incorporate it in your value proposition, incorporate it in your marketing. Because if you look at your hands right now, no two fingers on the same hand are of the same height. So that means Each index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger has a purpose. And that's you, my friend. You also do have a purpose. So show up in your, wholeness. Don't try and keep hiding. You've been hiding all your life. Ever since you were told you were not enough as a kid, you've always been hiding. Now it's your time to show up. Let me tell you something, man. I've built strategies for coaches and consultants so they can master their marketing, because I firmly believe we are all changing the world one life at a time. So who are you to stop yourself from actually showing up in the world that could actually change somebody else's life? If you have a problem with that, then just shut down your doors, because you're not doing anybody else a favor. Here, Live Long Digital, like I said, together with my clients and my team, I will help you develop and implement unique content marketing plans that connect and convert. But you got to show up with your own personality. You got to show up as who you are and in your best light. Because like I said, the whole entire point of putting content out there is to provide yet another touch point so that people can connect with you. Now, if you're not allowing people to connect with you personally by showing up with your social well-being, vocational well-being, environmental, intellectual, physical, then how else are they going to connect with you? You know? Like I said, I work with coaches and consultants, and I literally help them with their content marketing. And one thing that stops people from showing up is they haven't accepted who they are. And once they do that, you can see, the light bulb going up. And it's easy for you to now find the resources that you need to tell your story, communicate your value, and actually put together marketing strategies that convert clients. I can't wait to meet the real you. Ditch that, fake persona you've been throwing up that you have so professionalized, right? I want to meet the real you. Please introduce yourself to me. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au